had said. And really, my doing this for 19 years, my whole plan, the way I work, is to help people understand what's possible. And just helping people understand what's possible when it comes to wealth planning, because you don't know what you don't know. And so, this whole conversation that we're going to have in our time together this morning is going to focus on things that you probably didn't know, which was what was possible. So we're going to focus a lot on that. And a lot of people, they talk about life insurance, and yes, life insurance is a very broad term and it means a lot of different things. But what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to the real estate world is that life insurance has a lot of attributes that are very accessible, and that real estate people really tend to thrive towards because of the couple key things that I'm going to talk about today. And my goal is that at the end of this conversation is that you have a good understanding of planning, but specifically helping you to think about being better off in the future, using my hindsight for your foresight, if you would, and we'll talk about that. But let's first start out by going into the next slide, which is going to be around what we consider three segments of wealth building. The three segments of wealth building where you could put your money into is we categorize it into three different places. The first place that we talk to people about is home run money. Home run money is focused on one thing, that is investing in yourself. Ryan and Nish have their own business. Investing money in themselves and their business is their home run money. They hope with the risks that they took to go into business, the rewards are far going to outweigh the risks. But we do know risks do happen. We know about the crash of '08. We do know about the pandemic. We do know about political change. And those are risks in going into money. But home run is, hey, we're willing to put in the work to hopefully hit this thing out of the park. And that, we agree, when working with clients, is the best use of their money, period. The second segment of wealth building that our clients focus on, that most of you might have a part of, is your wealth management picture of the stock market. And boy, have we seen a roller coaster ride. We call that roller coaster ride money. The market has been up, it's been down. For those of you who have taken advantage of the $18,000 Dow Jones and then ridden the wave back up to 28, 29,000, and now, it's back down again today. So there has been definitely a roller coaster ride. But what I tell clients is that if you put money in the stock market, you can't expect it to go up all the time. You have to know that there are going to be dips. The problem is what is your discipline? Are you going to sell when the market is down or buy? Or are you going to sell when the market is high or buy when it's high? Unfortunately, for those of us who sold back in March and didn't rebuy in, you already lost, the best quarter in the markets in the last 25 years. So having discipline. And this last segment, which is the segment of wealth building that our clients focus on the most, is safe dollars. Now, the problem is that in the real world, right now, safe money is low yielding and highly taxed, meaning cash, CDs, bonds, low yielding, highly taxable. So what does that mean? Well, that means if we keep a bunch of money in safe, that means it makes everything else less efficient. But in the end, we want to wake up better positioned in the future. So if we can focus on a place where we can take our safe money and make it more efficient, then that makes your aggressive money and your home run money that much better. So we're going to focus a lot today on safe dollars. And our clients are asking us, well, Brad, well, where else is there a place that we can stack away some safe money? Next slide, Christina. So let's talk about things that affect money and growth. Inflation. You know, for those of you who remember as a child, maybe that was 10 years ago, maybe that was 20 years ago, maybe that was 30 years ago, maybe that was 40 years ago, maybe it was 50 years ago. You know, I suggest you Google how much a can of Coke was 25 years ago, how much a Honda Accord was 20 years ago, the cost of the first iPhone, you know, what it costs to go to the movies. You will see that those prices have increased. With an average inflation rate of about 3%, money doubles every 24 years. And that's using a rule of 72. Maybe some of you know about the rule of 72, but those of you who don't, whatever number is divided into 72, that's how many years it takes for it to double. So if you get 10% on an investment every single year, it'll take 7.2 years for that money to double. So at 3% inflation every 24 years, the cost of things will double. We're hovering somewhere around at 2 to 2.5% inflation. So that would, if we stayed there for the next 36 years, things would double. The other thing that is affects the return on investment is taxes. Taxes are a killer. Taxes are a killer on people's returns, on people's lifestyle, and taxes will continue to hurt things as they grow. So if we can find places where we can avoid the tax man, or tax woman in this case, for either a extended period of time or forever, then that makes the growth on our investments that much better. So we'll focus a lot on taxable opportunities. And then lastly, are down markets. And not only down markets when it comes to investments, but also down markets when it comes to real estate. You know, for years, people used to say real estate never goes down. But that's not true. Now, if you buy smart, know where to buy, are in it for the long term, well, then I think you could argue the point that real estate will go up. But at some point is at what point do you want to sell? I would think that most of us agree that right now it's a seller's market. That you could sell things for potentially more than they have ever potentially been listed for in certain parts of the country. Now, I certainly would want, if I was going to invest in long-term real estate, I think New York and San Francisco might be great places to buy right now. But if you have a place like me in Ponte Vedra, I mean, I could sell a couple of my rentals for almost double what I bought them for. So understanding those type of things and how down markets affect people's portfolios, especially when you're in retirement, has a great impact on your overall strategy when it comes to investing. Okay, go to the next page. So, a couple things to understand about growing your portfolio, whether that's in real estate, whether that's in the markets, or whether that's alternative investments. Our clients are saying to us, Brad, I want to be asset diversified, meaning I want to have money in a bunch of different places, but what about being tax diversified? What about making sure that you are diversified on how your investments are taxed?
Hey, Brad, I just wanted, kind of speak to our audience a little bit. So if you guys are investing right now, right, go ahead and put in the chat what you're investing in. Are you, Brad's talking about asset diversification. Is it stocks? Is it real estate? It's a combination. This will give us a good idea of what kind of wealth management you guys are actually doing right now. So, or if you're new, you can put, yeah, you can put you're new too. So go ahead and put in the chat so it gives us a good idea about our audience today.
Great. So asset diversification and tax diversification are key. So what I mean by that, if you're someone who has all of your money in a pre-tax 401k and you have IRAs that were in pre-tax, you are potentially asset diversified by putting money in maybe mutual funds and bonds. Not be tax diversified because all of those dollars coming out are going to come out taxable. Now, there's another thing, Anish, that also people understand about tax diversification. I can't tell you how many people say, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket when I'm retired. I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. And I tell them, I said, okay, well, you're making $200,000 a year taxable today. How much lower of a lifestyle are you going to want when you're in retirement? Are you going to want to have less of a lifestyle or a better lifestyle? I know for me, if I've worked 30, 40, 50 years, I want to have a better lifestyle than I have, than I do today. So people say, well, my kids have moved out of the house. I won't have a mortgage payment. But I will tell you that my parents have been, who have been retired for nearly 10 years, spend more money now than they did when they were not retired. It's because your lifestyle changes. And I suggest, even if you are in the utmost tax bracket, the 40% tax bracket, you got to understand we are in a marginal tax bracket system. So even though you could be in the 32, 34, 40% tax bracket, even if your income drops 30, 40, 50 grand a year, still majority of your income will be taxed in that marginal tax bracket. So understanding tax-free money, I, in myself, would much rather pay tax on my seed than I would on my harvest, because I can afford to pay taxes now out of income. But then when you're retired, you start paying taxes out of cash flow and your assets. So diversification in taxes and assets is what we talk about all the time.
Yeah, I was just going to add, Brad, the other thing is that I've noticed also, I mean, I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball to see where I will be in, 10, 15 years, but I do meet, through our club here, members that are, they're still in their 70s and they're still real estate investing, right? They like it. Maybe it's a little bit more passive. And now you're forced to take that money.
Correct.
Right. So depending on what you're in and whether it's a 401k or, and it might actually push you to another tax bracket.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that's some of the challenges.
Especially when your houses are paid off.
Right. Right. And that's what, I know you get to see that a lot. I'm starting to see that where they're upset. They're like, oh my God, I have to take this money. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's not fair, that kind of stuff. And then obviously, for legacy and all the other things that you want to do for long-term wealth or transfer of wealth, it also makes a big difference too.
100% understanding that. Yeah, great point there. And the other thing is, if you look at the history of taxes, and for all of you who are still in the middle or beginning of your careers, I would hope that most of you are trying to increase your balance sheet and increase your revenue, which means your taxes will go up, your tax brackets will go up. But what I want you to understand, whether who's in office doesn't matter. You look at where our tax brackets are today, they are historically low. Go back to the Jimmy Carter days when tax brackets were at 50, 60, 70, 80%. You were having people put away money before those days to only pay more taxes on them later. because the tax brackets went up. So there could be a chance where you're putting your money in a 401k to save 30% taxes. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but there is a potential that you could pay more on that money when you pull that out. There's always that potential. So what it goes back to is diversification amongst your assets is going to be important because we don't know what taxes will be in the future. We don't know. So, okay, going on to the next page. What I think this will relate to everybody. Whether you're in real estate, whether you're in your business for yourself, whether you're doing both, whether you're in a 401k, investor behavior versus investment performance. Are you behaving the way you're behaving because of the performance of your investment? Meaning, are you doing this? Are you taking action just because you're scared or it feels right or you're unsure or you're aggressive, or are you basing everything on strictly performance? We have to understand that if the market is down 20%, is there an opportunity to buy, or is there scarcity and we are going to sell? Or is the market high? Is this the opportunity to buy, or is this the opportunity to sell? Like I said, you look at New York, San Francisco, places where lowest, where the living rate in New York City is people are moving to Florida, people moving out of San Francisco, moving to places that have less people, rents, commercial properties, lowest rental, all these things are sinking. But if I was, I would take a look, hey, this is the opportunity to snatch up some good opportunities. Do you think New York is going to recover? 100% it will. Yeah, it might be 5 years from now. Do you think San Francisco is going to recover? I think it will. Maybe 5 years from now. But there's a lot of people who are running from those cities. So just understanding that we have the opportunity to take advantage versus behavior versus performance. So focusing on that. And the main thing is that I will tell you about those things is, do you have a plan? What's your plan? Stick to your plan. If you stick to your plan, every business has a plan. Stick to it, and you will succeed where others will fail. Okay, going on to the next page. This connects the things we looked at previously. Emotional decisions versus good decisions. When you buy a new car, is that an emotional decision or a good decision? I will tell you financially, in my opinion, it's a bad decision to buy a brand new car. Most people buy things based upon emotional decisions. They go in, they see something at a store, and they buy it. It gives them excitement to get something. Did you buy something based upon a good decision? Did you buy, that house that you were looking at to buy? You had that number in mind, but you really wanted that place. And yeah, if it makes you feel good, go do it. But was that usually based upon an emotional decision or a good decision? So we have to understand things. When people sell in a down market, is that an emotional decision or a good decision? It's usually an emotional decision. Most people's bad decisions are based upon emotions. And I'm not saying, hey, at the end of the day, if it makes you feel good to pay off your $1 million house that you got at 2.5%, deductible. Is that necessarily a good decision? Well, if it makes you feel good based upon your emotion, well, then I can't really argue with that. Like I tell people, hey, if it's going to make you feel good to do this, then do it. But at the end of the day, financially, that might not be a good decision. Would walk you through that opportunity. But the point is what I would do is every time you're going to make an economic decision, personal decision, a business decision, find out if you're acting on that on strictly emotion, or was it really methodically a good decision to do that? Sometimes taking an extra day, sometimes asking an expert, sometimes talking to somebody else, you know, and that's what people focus their decisions on. A lot is on emotions. Okay, go to the next page. So my clients ask me all the time about retirement. Retirement. When can I retire? I want to retire. I want to be in a position where I don't have to work. That's the way we talk to our clients, is not necessarily quit doing what you love doing, but be in a financial position not to work. Got something, Anish?
Yeah, I was just going to ask our audience out there, what's a good number for you to retire? How much do you need in retirement? I'm always kind of curious what the numbers pop up. So if you want to go ahead and put in the chat, what number, is safe, and some people, you want to live the same lifestyle or better. I know I'm one of those people. I'm not looking to downgrade my lifestyle. So what numbers would you guys say? Come on, guys. I know you guys, I don't want you guys falling asleep at the wheel. Today's supposed to be a little bit interactive. So Antonio, he needs 150K a year. Andres needs 5 million. I guess everyone else is gonna not retire. You guys are gonna work. D gives me a 500K, Maurice 250. Is that 250 a year or 250 in total? So what we want to know, I'm assuming the people that are putting 200, 250, or 150 is a year, is that what you want to make? Shola's got 2 million. So I know Andres pretty well. So 5 million, I know you're on your way there too also. So, okay, yep. So 250, 150, 5 million for 2 million. So it's pretty incredible what, just by asking some of these questions, how the numbers are so different. And I know, Brad, you probably have clients that, hey, listen, I need 10 million or 20 million or then some, or I need to make $1 million a year.
No, absolutely. But here's what I will tell you. Is that after taxes? And is that inflation adjusted? So here's what I will tell you. For those of you who are in their 30s right now, or 40s that are saying 250, at 65, that's 500. And if we're talking about after taxes, that's like 750. So what people tend, and what we help people do, is reverse. That's a great point, Anish, is we reverse engineer the number. So we include inflation. We include the complicated tax system. So the number is, this is what it is in today's money. But what about money 20, 30, 40 years from now? Oh, and by the way, at 65, you're still going to live when you're 85. So we got to keep that money growing so you can keep up with your lifestyle. So that's what we focus on. That people just think, oh, well, 250, sure, that's great today. But you're 45 years old. 20 years from now, that number is double almost.
Yeah, and who knows with medical expenses and unseen
100%.
Things that you're not sure. And again, the tax, who knows what the tax plan will be in 20, 30 years too. So when you don't add that in, inflation, right? The value of a dollar, all that other good stuff that no one really thinks about. So usually it always starts with that basic question that I just gave out. And then you got to kind of peel you got to peel it through and at the layers and see where you're really at. Will the 250 a year really work?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So the whole thing that we focus on with our clients, which ties back to a lot of things we talked about, was strategic positioning for retirement. Goes back to asset diversification, tax diversification, but our clients are saying to us, we want to wake up with a strategy. Okay? We don't just want cash flow, but we want a strategic position. An example would be a client of mine who sold their business for $3 million. He wants to know where the money is going to be coming from to make needed for retirement. Social Security, IRAs, brokerage accounts, cash value life insurance policies, Roth IRAs, right? So we have to focus on strategic positioning. And so what our clients are saying, not only do I want to be well positioned, but I also want to be well planned. And so having a plan, what we see in working with clients who either have or have not worked with other advisors is they have a bunch of good stuff. They have real estate, they have IRAs, they have 401ks, they have brokerage, they have cash, but they don't have a written plan that says, here's all my stuff, here's what it looks like with inflation, here's what it looks like with taxes, here's what it looks like on a conservative moderate growth, here's what it took in my real estate portfolio, taking out insurance and taxes and maintenance. Here's conservative growth in the properties. Have you thought about whether you're going to sell real estate in your retirement or you're going to keep it as a cash flow? So all those things are things that we work on our clients, but we start out with a balance sheet.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah.
You know what I was gonna. I mean, I might as well. Everyone knows I'm pretty transparent here at Bria. So, I mean, let's even talk about our conversation about 3 years ago. I have no problem putting, all the stuff on the table, and I told Brad. So it was kind of funny because we have a mutual friend that works at Northwestern, and Brad says he was basically asking me the same thing about what's your strategies on what you're doing, and I said, oh, I'm in real estate. And I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I got stuff in my IRA, and I kind of pushed back at him. And one of the things that you said, which I thought was really that really stuck with me pretty well, was like, listen, your real estate stuff. Be aggressive on that. You can't be aggressive on everything because it's not going to be good. And and that was a big thing for me. I was like, oh, what do you mean? And I didn't think I was being that aggressive. And then we started talking about, whether it's the policies or, all the other different needs. And now that, I've been doing it and I've been overfunding and, doing all these different things, I'm watching it kind of grow. And even when the irony was like, when the market took a hit, I still got to see my policy still grow without taking a hit versus my stuff in the brokerage. So there is that peace of mind, but I didn't even know what to ask. Right. So I thought, here at Bria, I know all this stuff and not. And then I actually put it into action. So I think that's, as much as you might know, one part of the business, which I feel like I know one part, it's amazing how many other things that you miss out on. And now to able to, I'm using like basically insurance arbitrage, all these different things that I'm not making any more money or it's the same amount of money, but my cash flow is dramatically increased and I've been able to leverage that. So for me, it was an eye opener. He probably had to have like 5 or 6 conversations with me to kind of get that in. But I think it's just important to know, as you're learning about more things and to actually have a wealth advisor that's got the full view, right? So it's okay to, do some things on your own. I mean, I still do, but to actually, like what you're saying, is to build a strategy What about this? Or what about that? And then constantly adjusting it. So we actually, once a year, we have a conversation, and Brad says, well, this is what you need to do here, 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 here. What do you think? So I think it's just important if you're a wealth manager, financial planner, or they're not doing that with you, I think it's just a disservice in general, right? Whether it's Northwestern Mutual or anybody, I think that really will make a big difference. So I just wanted to put that in. And then the other question I always get is, and you'll probably get this too, is what happens if I'm I'm relatively new? So yeah, I don't have my millions yet. When's it, is it too late to start, or how much money do I need?
That is great. No, that's a great point. So we have clients that put in 200 a month. We have clients that put in 20,000 a month, and we have clients that put in 2,000 a month. So the whole point is the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest, right? I mean, the point is, when I was 22 years old, I didn't have much to start with, but I started. And now I see where I am today at 41 and what compound interest can do. So the point is there's always going to be a reason why not to start. There's always going to be a reason. Oh, I want to pay off my car. Oh, my kids are going to college. Oh, I want to get this. I want to do this. I want to do that. But at the end of the day, if you start out something and do it systematically, yeah, it might be hard for the first month, 2 months, 6, but by 6 months, it becomes something automatic. It becomes a habit. And you got to start somewhere. So no, you don't need, the nice part about working with a Northwestern Mutual advisor is we don't have a minimum. You don't need 50 grand to start with me. You don't need, you literally could start with me for $200 a month. That's what we're about, as long as you are open to knowing what's possible. And so that's what we're going to focus on that. Christina, can you go back to sharing the screen? Not sure what happened there. There we go. All right. Let's go to the next page. So here's something interesting. Their hindsight, your foresight. Their hindsight. Anish's hindsight. Ryan's hindsight. My hindsight. Your parents' hindsight when raising children. Taking people's past experiences and knowing what they have been through to help you see your future. I've been doing this for 19 years. I have seen clients go through crashes, real estate crashes, market crashes, business collapses. I am now helping people that say, hey, that doctor that I worked with 19 years ago is now in a better position because of what I got him to do 19 years ago. Some of you, if not all of you, are in better positions from what Anish and Ryan and other people in your circle have said. This is what we've done to help you with what your future is going to be. When I tell people I've been there for 19 years with this company, they don't believe me because they can't believe it. And I say, this is what I've done, and this is what I did. And if you do this, you're going to wake up 10 years from now and be better positioned and better planned. So being open-minded, anytime I talk to somebody, I would say, if you are open-minded, most people are not going to say, no, I'm not open-minded. So if you are open-minded, you help people. When I talk to people, when I talk to Anish and Ryan and my other clients, I'm talking to them and educating them. I'm not saying you should do this, you need to do this. No, I'm saying this is how this works. Is this something you'd be interested in learning more about? Is this a tool? This is what we use. Yes, they're financial products, but they're tools. They're tools to help people get to where they want to go. They're a tool in their shed. Does this make sense to be on your balance sheet? Does this make sense to have in your portfolio? And at the end of the day, we can only educate people. At the end of the day, they have to make up decisions for themselves. But certainly I can say, I'm going to use my hindsight. I'm going to use the real estate investor that I work with. I'm going to use Anish and Ryan, who've been with me for 3-4 years, using their hindsight for your foresight on what will help you in your future. You know, when I work with real estate people, I say I work with investment bankers, I work with business owners, I work with doctors. You know, I can't tell you how many doctors I work with that are in real estate now because they want to position themselves to be better when they're out of medicine. But at the end of the day, people need money that is safe. Okay? So let's go to the next page and talk about what Anish was talking about, which was leverage. Okay? Leverage is a big opportunity in your business or any business. Leverage is using someone else's money to potentially earn more money. Having things like lines of credit, okay, are great opportunities to use low yielding money to make more money. I'm sure some of you are maybe leveraged in areas you don't want to be leveraged in. Credit cards, high yield credit cards. You know, those are one. I mean, I'm sure some of you maybe are in deferral for student loan payments, those type of things. So you have good debt. Everyone's heard of good debt and bad debt. I think real estate is great debt. All my debt was in real estate. That's great. So understanding leverage is key. It's a great tool. You can use money, like I said, to make money. So let's go to the next page and talk about the biggest thing you can do today. You know, so I want to talk about what is the biggest small thing you can do today. Okay, so we think about a few things. You know, one of the things we talk about is what are you doing today to be more successful? What's the small thing you're doing today? You know, last week I spent about 2.5 hours at my country club planning for 2021. Okay? How many of you, I think that's a good question, Anish. Can we put that in the chat? How many of you have done your personal and professional goals for 2021? How many of you right now have already done that or it's on your calendar?
And guys, be honest. It's okay, right?
Yeah.
So you can say you haven't done it yet. This is not, you know, you're not going to be in trouble.
Those of you that could see me, mine literally is on a piece of paper, my 2021 business and personal goals. It's on my calendar, started it. I like it. I like it.
Yep, I've already started mine too. Robbie, it's on his calendar. Sharana, not yet. Working on it, not yet. Okay.
Good. So whilst people are doing this, this is what I would do. If you haven't done it, the biggest small thing you can do today is go on your calendars right now and block off 2-3 hours, not in your office, and that unless that's your fun place where you enjoy that. Go to the beach, go to your favorite restaurant, go to a club, go to somewhere where you can escape. Maybe get a hotel somewhere for the night, that if you feel safe to do that. But go somewhere that you could be out of distraction and you can focus on doing it. And then, you know, some of the things, just to give you an idea and talk about transparency, you know, my goal for 2021 is read 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day. And I started doing it already because I said, why not stop? I'm reading Think and Grow Rich for the second time.
Yeah, it's great.
And I'm doing that 10 pages a day. If the average book is 300 pages, there's 365 days in a year. That's over 12 books, almost 12 books I'm going to read, or over 10 books I'm going to read in a year. Okay? Focus on that. Let's see. Take my parents out to dinner 3 times, just me and my parents for the year. It's planned, nice 3 dinners. 6 massages. Got to take care of myself. I got to get a massage every other month. So these are the things you can do. Okay. I like wine. I have a lot of wine, but I want to study wine. So I want to get into understanding wine, the grapes, and that type of stuff. So I tell you what, I got more out of 2 hours spending time with myself that I have in a long time. And I do this every year. It gets me refired up, for the year. So doing that, that's one big thing I could tell you to do today. Another big thing that I could tell you to do today, depending on your business and what you're doing, but is maybe try to find someone that is an accountability partner, someone that can help you hit your goals. I would focus on an accountability partner. So those are the couple things that I always tell you, but what is the biggest small thing to do today? Is there that phone call you're trying to make that you're scared of? Is there a phone call? Is there a phone call that you would like to, make that you haven't had? So these are just these little small things that I honestly would tell you that would be a good focus on, where you want to be in your life. So I do want to finish on one thing which Anish mentioned, which was arbitrage and how we focus on working specifically with people in the real estate world amongst professionals. But, if you could leverage money to make money, then that's always a great thing. One of the things that I will tell you is that Northwestern Mutual has a specific tool that in the real world, as we talked about, safe money, cash is low yielding and highly taxed. Well, Northwestern Mutual has a tool that currently we pay a dividend interest rate on. Within this tool, we're focused on our dividend paying history of our company, which has been paying dividends since 52, and is currently crediting a dividend interest rate of 5%. And so what we do at Northwestern Mutual is we work with real estate professionals on how they can lend against their own tool that they have at Northwestern Mutual at a dividend of 5% of what they're getting, but they can lend against their own money at prime or lower. And then they can use those funds to buy real estate. So essentially, you could earn money in an account, an account that would be considered an accumulated value. You can get a line of credit off of that account with a local bank, set up with no docu-stamps, no fees, nothing. And then you can leverage that money to go and buy other real estate. So you actually can be making money while you're using that money on alternative investments. And so what I will tell you, if anything, it's just good to be educated on how that process works. And the money's liquid, it's safe, it's guaranteed to grow every single year. The money can never go backwards. So it becomes this advantage to use in the real estate world, or really any world where you might need to have safe money available to you. So I see the poll going up. And so here's what I want to do. Anish, is it okay if I share my cell phone number?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you could put it in, I don't know if you have access to the chat, if you could put it in the chat, but here's what I would do. Just text me your name, and I will have my team or myself personally set you up a 15-minute introductory call with myself just to educate you on this process, to know a little bit more about you. And if for those of you who say the timing isn't even right, or it could be right in the future, I think it's good just to get an understanding of what's possible. But my phone number is 904 334-7837. Obviously, Bradley Ernst, ERNST. And just send me a text, and I'd be more than willing to set up some time, maybe after Thanksgiving. And we can have a conversation. Yeah, just
I'm sorry, is it 7837 or
37.
37? Okay.
7837. Sorry.
Yep. Disregard that other number that Jesslyn put in. It's 904-334-7837, please.
Yeah, and just send me a message, and I'd be more than willing to have a conversation with you. I do see one question already popping up. How are we doing on time?
We got another 30 minutes still. So
perfect.
Actually, you know what? I want to, since we're talking about the insurance arbitrage, I'm going to tell everyone what I exactly did was. So I actually overfunded my life insurance policy. I guess it's a whole life. Obviously, Brad knows my stuff better than I do.
Correct. It's overfunded. It's overfunded. Yep.
Yep. So actually, do you want to explain what that means?
Yeah. So essentially how insurance is normally structured. When people, I am on social media. I'm on LinkedIn for business purposes, and I also have my own web page as well through Northwestern Mutual. You can just look me up, Northwestern Mutual, Bradley Ernst, but I am on LinkedIn. Yeah, so you connect me there. So essentially, typically how people buy life insurance in the real world is they want to get the biggest death benefit for the smallest cost. And in our world, we're trying to get the smallest death benefit and put as much cash as we can into that policy. And by doing that, what it does is it drives down the cost of insurance to the most minimal cost possible and maximizes the returns. And when we put in what we call additional premiums or lump sums, it immediately is credited to the accumulated value and gives you access to those dollars. And every year on your anniversary, you are allowed to put in additional premiums or lump sums that will increase not only the cash value, but will also increase the line of credit by which you have the monies on. And the whole point is instead of taking the money out of the policy directly, we have a lending institution that will give you a line of credit against it. So you can make money while you're using it, and you're almost able to double dip in the returns on the cash values compared to what the borrowing rate is. And because you are borrowing it for business purposes, the interest from the bank is now deductible at your highest marginal tax bracket, which is a triple dip, if you would. Because not only can you use the money tax-free to use for property purchases, but you can also deduct the interest from the bank.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, I always laugh at these kind of things. So obviously Brad is a super expert. So I'm gonna dumb it down. I'm gonna call it Anish proof. So what I realized, I'm just gonna translate everything quickly on that end of it, is that I could put a certain amount of extra money towards my life insurance policy. The cash value went up. Also, my dividends increased. So last year, I actually got 12%. I know Northwestern, I was at 135 years. It's 5% as usually. But last year, I was surprised that I got 12% on the extra money. I went to one of their lenders, and right now I'm paying prime on a line of credit. So for easy numbers, if you have $100,000, they'll lend you 95%, and there are no fees, and you actually get a checkbook. So exactly what he's saying is that, so I got the dividend money was number one. I get the tax break also. And what I realized was a lot of time my cash was just sitting in my business account, not doing anything. And what I was really worried about was having access to that money. So I thought before, I spoke to Brad, was that I'm going to put the money in there and I'll have no access to it. And unfortunately, like I was with another company prior, and I was in a policy which unfortunately I did have no access to it. And that's why I just assumed that was one of the things that I would never have access to it. And, what's it going to do down the road? And after speaking to Brad, he put me in a product that I have access to it right away. So part of the things I do every year, I put money in my SEP, my Roth IRA, and I overfund our life insurance policies for myself and my wife. And again, these are just things like I had no idea. And when you do get a true professional, that actually you tell them what your goals are and why, you were able to walk me through it. And actually, that's one of the reasons why we had you come speak today. Is I can't tell you how many people have no idea how using life insurance or other vehicles could actually help their real estate business until doing it.
No, for sure. I think one of the things that I think you would agree is the money side policies. There's no dilemma to get it out. Meaning you got your checkbook, like you said. You don't have to call anybody up. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to sell anything. There's no dilemma. And at the end of the day, when you need money, you don't want to have a dilemma. You don't have to call somebody, sell something, try to track down somebody, wait for a check to arrive in the mail. You want no dilemma. And so what I will tell you, this goes back to the safe segment of wealth building. When you are either 25 or 75, you're going to want a position of your overall portfolio to be safe. And like you said, if your SEP went down in March for 20%, and that was the only thing you had, you might have said, man, I need to be more conservative with these dollars. So the fact that you have an asset that is guaranteed to grow every single year, no matter what happens in the economy, it's what we call, honestly, the sleep better at night money. Like you said, man, I'm sure you were curious just to see, man, I wonder what my cash values did. Well, they didn't go down. You know what I'm saying? So even when the market dropped from, even if you started from, and I see Sharonda saying you need a lot of capital to get started. I think that's what you said. And actually you don't. You could start out at, like I said, $200 a month. Now you're not going to have access to 50 grand when you start out small, but you have to build. A lot of these people, like I said before, you build it over a period of time. And so people might say, I'm going to put in 500 a month, and then they get to the end of the year and they look at where their finances are and they put in a lump sum at the end of the year. So the reason is, no, you don't have to start out with a lot of capital. You could start out smaller and then build up over time. You can build up over time. Yes, compounding, absolutely. So, that is where I feel the thing is just starting somewhere is better than starting nowhere.
What about, Brad, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
It says, I have had term life insurance policy for 20 years. Is it good to have both? So do you want to maybe talk about
what was the last part? Is it good to have both? Absolutely. Yeah. Because the primary goal, as you were joking with Brian.
Actually, before even, because I know some people are newbies a little bit too. Do you want to explain the difference between, or what a term?
I got a great I have a great story about term and permanent. Very easy to understand.
Yep.
Term is like renting. Okay? You pay rent. You get any return beside your security deposit? No. Okay? In this case, term, there is no security deposit. You're paying month after month for a period of time. You could break the lease at any time, but you have to move out. So that means your insurance is gone. And typically a lease is for a period of time. This, in your case, for a 20-year term, it's a 20-year lease. Once your lease is up, you got to renew it or you're out. Now, what typically happens with lease payments as time goes on? Typically, it goes up. So if you want to wait 20 years and it's over, you want to renew, you're going to pay more because you're older. So, but at the end of the day, I own a bunch of term, millions of term I own. because if something happens to me, I want my family to be taken care of. So if you had $100 a month or $200 a month or $500 a month, we're not going to put you in the smallest insurance policy. We're going to make sure that if something happens to you, that your family is taken care of. But the best part about term, like it is with renting in most cases, although that's changed recently, that renting is typically cheaper than owning in most cases. Okay, in most cases. So in this case, but with permanent insurance versus term, term is going to be cheaper than it is permanent. So starting out with a combination of both is definitely something that we recommend. But the other part about term, which is purposeful, is that it gives you the ability to convert to permanent with no medical underwriting in the future. So again, those conversations we can work in deeper, but that is a good part about term,
and basically
technically conversion privilege.
Yeah, so what, and that's the perfect point of that is the reason you do get the term if you're on a budget in the beginning, I would say exactly where I agree with you, is that usually you're the healthiest when you're younger. So, as you get older, things happen. Your insurance will be higher. So if you have the term, you could at least convert it, and they're not going to make you do another medical questionnaire, or it doesn't have to be medically underwritten. So a lot of people will start that with the beginning. Even my parents, they had term for years, through their work, and then they bought some, term on their own. And, I guess it's a good thing, but they outlived their term, right? So, I mean, do you get a lot of clients that actually looking back at it, what I know now, I would say it was a little bit poor planning. They just didn't know. They didn't have, anyone to talk to. And for a long time, they just, they worked in corporate America, and they thought they were covered with, whatever insurance they got through work. So you want to kind of maybe talk about, what you've seen, or?
Yeah, again, what I think that the focus on is coming back to what is the purpose of the insurance to begin with. What is the purpose of the insurance to begin with? One of the things that what we do with people is understanding, yes, protection of your family and your assets is the primary reason, but what is the long-term play when it comes to insurance? What does your overall strategy look like? And that's why we don't just focus on, we manage over $50 million. We don't just focus on the investment side. Yes, we've written whatever, 1,300 policies or whatever, they said, or it was way more than that. It was probably, it's probably close to 2,000, over 2,000 policies now. But the point is, I think he said 13,000 policies actually. But the point is that we sell a lot of term, we sell a lot of permanent, but we have to look at your overall plan to understand what it is to tie all this stuff, good stuff that you have, together. I think that under educating people is the key part of our business, to understand what they should be owning, right? I hear you made a great point though. You shouldn't be, putting money into this permanent life insurance if you have 20% high interest credit card debt. You should be focusing on paying that down first, but still getting term insurance to protect your family and converting it later. If you have a 401k and you're not maxing out at least up to what they match, we should be focusing on doing those things first. And I have a fiduciary, Anish. So, ours is focusing on proper planning, and making sure people are in a position where they're doing everything right, not just the insurance part.
Absolutely. And I think that makes a big difference. What about when we're talking about, insurance, and I get this all the time too, is like, it's kind of funny, but I have a policy on my wife, and she doesn't actually work, right? And people ask me, well, why have that extra policy? And for me, it's actually the overfunding. So we're just using, the extra dividends. It's another place just to put some more money and obviously more protection too. So,
No, absolutely. But another great point is that, and I would say maybe not physically like have an income to work, but they certainly work at home. And a
yeah,
lot of people understand that their spouses don't work for, let's say, a company or their own business, but they work at home. And Northwestern Mutual did a study and found out that if a working stay-at-home mom would earn about a $70,000 a year job. And
wow,
so if something was to happen to a spouse or a stay-at-home dad, which I have clients, I have a stay-at-home dad, that the amount of money that it would cost to hire somebody full-time to take care of children, because the one thing we never want parents, if they lost one parent, we never want them to lose both. What I mean by that is another parent having to work extra hours or extra time or put in that much more work because they have to pay for care, so that is just as important to have non-working spouses covered as well,
absolutely. What about and I know like we, especially on the real estate world, you're always worried about asset protection. What
Yes.
happens if
Great,
I get
great,
sued?
great point. Yes, in the state of Florida, uh, cash values inside life insurance policies have unlimited protection from creditors, bankruptcy, and sue-proof. It's a fully sheltered asset in Florida. Also, if there's any doctors out there, it's also malpractice protected as well, which becomes a key benefit of why people like to put their safe money in there.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why, as we're working on real estate projects, Ryan and I didn't want the money just sitting in my checking account to an
Yeah,
extent because of asset protection too,
yeah,
which was an extra bonus. So a lot of people don't even, we always get those questions all the time about asset protection. So
yeah.
I really didn't even realize that with life insurance, you could also do that too. So,
Correct. Yeah, they are. Yes. Yeah. It's a great. It's a great tool. We call it a tool. It's a great tool. Are there any other questions out there? And yeah, any other questions for myself? Not around life insurance. Is there anything around planning or uh, you know what I do or anything specifically that I can help?
nothing specific. I was just wondering, like, out of the people that haven't planned, for 2021, like what's stopping you? I'm just always kind of curious. Is it, I have friends that are, oh, I like numbers and I like the financial stuff and creative stuff. So actually, Ryan's actually one of those people that, he likes fixing houses and the number stuff he doesn't like doing so well. So it's easy for someone like him to be like, hey, I'll get to this later. The other question I did get a private chat was, what about with COVID? I mean, we might as well, has the insurance guidelines, underwriting, has any of that has that changed or
Great question.
what
So
is?
there has been additional added questions to COVID if they've had it, if they recovered. But no, we are still doing full underwriting and approvals. There has been nothing that has changed that, which has been a blessing. So yeah, our business has been actually record growth, record sales this year for me and my team, record revenue. It's been great, and I will tell you this. The thing that is what is great, I think, the silver lining, and I always look not at the glass half full, but I look at the glass overflowing, is that this is an opportunity to take advantage, and people are open to talking now more than ever. I have found people are open, even though they're sitting here in their homes or maybe isolated in their own business, but people are focused and open to chatting. And I think that's very, very important. People are having more communication. They are, although they're so busy, they're also open to communicating, with other people. So what I would tell you is that this is an unprecedented time. This is the time where you can take, as you're asking, what is holding you back? And like I will tell you, just like in anything, it's because for most people, it's not scheduled. You got to schedule to do it. You got to put it on your calendar and get it done. How many things did you say you were going to do this year that you didn't do because you didn't get around to it? Or you said you're going to wait till next year to do it. Accountability. What's the smallest big thing you can do today? Do something that you're scared to do. Do something that's going to make you uncomfortable every single day. Okay.
Right.
That's what I try to do. Something that makes you feel uncomfortable every single day. Being humble, but there's 8,000 advisors at Northwestern Mutual. My team and I have fortunately produced for the last 3 years and in the top 20 the last 5. And we're one of only 150 advisors out of 8,000 that are now part of the Northwestern Mutual private client group. And what I will tell you is that it's the little decisions that you make every day that end up being the big snowball at the end, right? We've all seen that, analogy where the snowball and it rolls and rolls and rolls, and it's about those small little decisions that you do every day to be successful. I'm not sitting here 19 years from now with a great company, because I just decided to show up one day. It's what I do every single day. Every single day. At the end of the day, I'm the one who's staring myself in the mirror. I'm the one that's got to wake up and do that. So again, this is not about insurance anymore. This is about what you can do every day to be successful in what you're doing. And it starts, though, with a plan. Whether that's a personal plan, a business plan, a financial plan, a family plan. But what are you going to do to be accountable to yourselves? What is going to drive you to be successful every day? What is going to motivate you? My good friend Ben calls it his burn. What is that fire inside of you that's going to make you get to the next level? So that's where it starts with when it comes to the success of what drives me to get to the next day.
Yeah, I would just add what I've been doing also on the personal end of it is that I always have some work goals, and same thing, I got some personal goals too. So that are fun.
I have personal goals.
And like just to share, like last year, my wife and I went on our dream trip to Dubai, the Maldives, and India. And I was laughing because as soon as I booked the ticket, it was unbelievable. Ryan was kind of laughing at me here at the office. I was eating better, I was working out better, and I had something to really look forward to. And our business started booming even more. So it's kind of like the mental state, and I always kind of joke about who wants to work with people that are unhappy. I don't care what kind of product you have. If you're an unhappy person, I'm all set.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's the best part about our businesses is we can choose who we want to work with. There's millions and millions of people, millions and millions of opportunities, to work with. And sometimes, and guess what? If we bat 1,000, we wouldn't be talking on here. We'd be on our own private island with Richard Branson, hanging out. But, at the end of the day, we don't bat 1,000. But that's okay. We understand that. And as long as you have the mentality that there's going to be a lot of failures before there's success, you got to hang in there. What I tell my people in this business, just when you're about to quit, it's going to be getting easier. You know what I'm saying? So for those of you who are on this call who are saying, you know, man, I'm not sure where I'm at or what I'm doing or what if this is right for me or if I should keep going or, you know, just when it's about to get that much harder, it gets that much easier. Hang it in there. You know, this wasn't created, a niche. Did your business, was it just created overnight? One day? Oh, it didn't happen overnight? You didn't just wake up and create what you have? No. It's how many failures have we had to get to
how much time you got?
Right. How many?
Absolutely.
Exactly. You know, so that's my point is we have to, as people in our businesses, is we have to fail before we can become successful. True story, when I was 2 years into the business, I owed my managing partner $30-some thousand in reversals. I was $30,000+ in credit card debt. True story to this day, the only credit card that was not shut off was American Express Blue card, which had a $500 limit that I didn't even know I had, that I got when I was in college. I still have the card. It says member since 1998 when I was in college or 2000 or something. I've been an American Express card holder for over 20, almost 20 years. And luckily, if I never had that card, I would have never been able to build up my credit and gotten to be where I am today. It's a true story. So the point is, though, is we all start somewhere. And the people that get to the next level are willing to do what the unsuccessful people aren't doing. You know, that's the common, for those of you who don't know, it's called the common denominator of success. The successful people are doing what the unsuccessful people don't want to do. I will guarantee you the successful people are planning to crush 2021.
Yep. Yeah,
right?
you don't want like, you know, excuses, right? I know COVID and the pandemic, there's always going to be something, right? It's going to be a hurricane. It's going to be the right time. You know, for real estate, it's, you know, I mean, you just got to, I just call it noise. You just got to get through the noise and chug right along. And what happens is once you get a couple wins, you know, it's like velocity. It just grows exponentially when you now all of a sudden it becomes easier. And then the things that were not working, they don't become that big of a deal. You just get past it. So
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say is, by the way, so we do have our winners. Did you actually, Brad, did you see who the winners are?
Yes, I did. Okay.
You want to announce
Let's
it?
see here. I'm going to find
Whose house am I going over to for some wine?
All righty. Famous winners. Reynaldo Barron.
Reynaldo Barron.
And then will they be able to send, can you send the address?
Yeah.
We'll send it to Christina, and then she'll get it out to you, okay?
Yep.
You can get those.
So Reynaldo, if you don't mind, just hit our office with your address, and we'll make sure you get your wine.
And then
who's the other one?
Catherine, and I'll pronounce it if I'm saying it wrong, but is it De Dios?
I think so. That's how I would pronounce it. So Catherine and Reynaldo, we're paying you to drink to listen to Brad. That's amazing.
Yes. So the one thing and I know, do I have a couple minutes? One thing I want to tell you, one of the books that I would recommend for those of you in business or in general, and I have my whole book of collections back here I'm working on, but this book, let's see here.
Hey, look, it's not really a prop.
No.
Oh my God. The one thing?
One thing. You love it?
I love it. I'm trying to see. Oh, no, it's funny. I lent it to somebody. I read that book twice.
One thing I will tell you in the book, The One Thing, they talk about the 5 thieves of someone wanted Reynaldo, yeah, you are going to email Anish's team your address, and they will get you connected with us to get the wine sent out if that's what you're asking. So, but one of the book, The One Thing.
It's a great book.
One Thing. They talk about the 5 thieves of productivity. And one of the thieves of productivity, which is very hard to do, is the inability to say no. And what happens is people say yes to everything. Yes to happy hour. Yes to golf on a Friday afternoon. Yes to an all-day spa day. Yes to cutting off of work early. Yes to a 2-hour lunch. Yes to all these different activities. But those things are keeping you from hitting your goals. And so one thing I will tell you, the one thing I will tell you is make sure when you're committing yourself to hitting your goals, you're saying yes to the things that are getting you there. Yes to the things that are getting you there. And the other thing is in the book, The One Thing, 5 Thieves of Productivity, is are you setting your environment up for success? One of those things is planning for 2021. So what I would tell you is, hey, let's start 2021 off the bang. Let's get planning. Let's get your plans, your personal goals, your professional goals set. And let's make 2021 literally the best year you've ever had in business.
Absolutely. It's a great book. I mean, I've read that a couple times.
Yeah.
So that's funny. I was looking for my copy of
the author is Gary Keller. Gary Keller.
It's a super easy book to read. Yes. And if you start practicing it, you're going to see how much time you waste on things that aren't important.
Forget it. Yeah. It's over. Yeah. Great.
Absolutely. So our time's almost up today. Yes. So is there any parting words? We just put on Brad's information. If you guys want to take a quick photo, remember our replay will be up within 48 hours on our YouTube channel. So again, you could text Brad. He is willing to do a 15-minute consultation with you guys just to chat to see if there's anything he could help you with, or some of the different products out there. There's no cost. So I didn't know you were going to do that, but that's pretty cool that,
yeah, I'm not a fee-based planner. So you can email me, text me, like I said, connect on LinkedIn. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Any parting words you'd like to?
No, listen, I really appreciate everyone chiming in, taking the time. It's been a pleasure to meet all you virtually. I hope you and your families have a wonderful Thanksgiving, a great holiday season. And really, I will just tell you, think about making 2021 your best year ever. And listen, if there's anybody out there that just needs a little bit of motivation, questions not even around insurance, I'd be more than willing to help you, talk to you a little bit about how I do planning. I also do coaching for people around the country. So anything you guys need, absolutely. My email, my cell phone number, I'm very good at answering back, and we have a great team around it. So thank you so much for taking the time, and I look forward to connecting with all of you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brad. And again, I am one of his clients, so is Ryan. And everything he just said, it is true. I've bent his ear on a lot of things, and they've been fantastic with great information that you've always been able to give to us.
Thank you.
Hopefully you guys will check out our upcoming events. We have an event this Saturday, how to find abandoned properties, from 10 a.m. to noon. I'll also be sending out, hopefully you'll give us a 5-star Google review, especially Brad, for the information today. We totally appreciate it. And again, Brad, happy Thanksgiving, a little bit early for you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Even though I'll be talking to you way before then.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Look forward to it.
To go to my 2021 with you anyway. So again, thank you guys for attending today's webinar. And I'd like to thank Brad and the Northwestern Mutual team.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yep.